Hello again, Yosemite Church. Today we are diving into the second part of a two-part process. Yesterday we talked about how we want to take every thought captive. We want to take every part of our life that is not beneficial, that is not uplifting, that is not from God, and we want to give it to Him. Well, after that, what do we do? Because if we don't know how to behave, then so often what happens is we go back to the way we knew, what we knew before. And we see it time and again, right? I won't become my parents. Well, until you become a parent, and then the challenges of raising a child, the challenges of rearing up a little human being and making them not crazy, bring us back to the only thing that we know. And so often what that is what our parents did, and we become that thing that we used to hate. Now, that might be too strong of language for you, right? You might not hate your parents, but you were adamant you weren't going to do this thing, and then you find yourself doing it. Well, that's because we never put into practice the replacement of an idea, the replacement of this thing with something from God. We never put into practice the wrestling with what can take the place of this sinful notion, this sinful practice, this misplaced family fault. Well, that becomes one of the hardest parts of the process, is that, okay, if I'm going to give something up, give it to God, present it to Him as a confession, as 2 Corinthians 10:5 tells us, right? Take every thought captive. Then we need to get in the practice of listening to God and finding what can take its place. Again, this can take many forms, but first and foremost, the Bible is our primary source of information when it comes to how we should be blessings in areas, especially when it comes to our family, and these things that might be non-biblical commandments that we've followed. The Bible is filled with the truth and knowledge and wisdom that we can use to replace that. But it takes work, it takes dedication, it takes time to dive into the Bible and really wrestle with, okay, what should my family look like? Because once we know what it shouldn't look like, to put into practice something else is truly the hard part. Another thing that we can do is actively search for people who do things well. For instance, right? One of the biggest blessings I got as I came into the formative years of my life, just getting out of high school, about to go to college, was I had the opportunity to spend a significant amount of time with a family that was the embodiment of a healthy marriage. Now, I love my parents, they're wonderful people, but they went through a divorce when I was very, very young. My first memories are of a separation that occurred when I was 2 years old. From that moment on, I knew my family meant Dad's house and Mom's house. Well, one of my greatest fears then was going forward, if I'm going to be married, I don't have any actionable thing I know to do in order to practice marriage well. I have never seen somebody do it well, so how am I to do it myself? Well, one of the things I dove into was the Bible, and I got a lot of truths that I saw, and that's a wonderful thing. But I saw it put into practice with this couple when they would do little things in their marriage to love each other well. Again, this is the power of mentors in our life. This is the power of seeking out that which might not be a part of our life and gaining wisdom from others who do it well, from being a part of our Christian family and relying on them to give to us that which we need. And so in this, I am eternally grateful for this couple that I saw put into practice ways to love each other well. Very simple, very minute at times, but it changed my life, because in those moments I saw a man and a woman dedicated to loving each other well in a marriage. And it's those things that I have embodied in my marriage today that I put into practice in any way that I can to try to make sure I am living out my Christian legacy instead of my family one. Because as much as I love my parents and as much as they have blessed me, I refuse to allow what happened to them to happen to me. I do not want this to be a part of my line, and so I am going to do whatever it takes to make sure that it doesn't, and rely on the Christian truths to replace the lies that I've held on to. And in that sense, in my family line, the lie was, well, you're most likely going to get divorced, because half of marriages end in divorce. That doesn't mean that my marriage will. And I choose to hold on to the Christian truths that I will do whatever it takes, not just to make my marriage survive, but to thrive. And so, as we put into practice, right, giving to God, no, I don't want this marriage to end. This is not a truth that I will surrender myself to. Lord, give me then the keys to the success of making this family tradition that was sinful no longer part of my life. And I receive from you, God, a truth that I replace this with. And that truth for me so often was, especially in the context of my parents, I don't have to rush to find a partner. I don't have to do marriage selfishly. And in doing so, it can be super fun. I don't have to do any of those things. And it's not to say that those are exactly what my parents struggled with. It is what I struggled with as I continued forward and as I wrestled with what it means to follow God and to want to be a family man. It meant I needed to give to God so many of the lies that I held onto and receive from Him the truth that He had for my life. And in doing so, I was blessed. And I believe you will be the same, right? But you have to put in the practice. You have to pursue the knowledge of God. You have to work for it. Because this is one of those things that God loves, is when you pursue Him, He will give unto you tenfold what you have sought out. If you are trying to find ways to love well, He will give to you an immeasurable blessing so that you can truly rely on Him. That's the beauty of who God is and how He loves His children. He is ready to take care of you, but He's not going to force you into anything. So practice giving to Him alongside the work of finding what needs to replace it, finding the truths that we must surrender ourselves to and taking them into our lives, because doing that will bless us.